Night falls. The house becomes quiet. You lie down on your bed, or maybe you relax on the couch after a long day. The room is calm, the lights are low, and everything feels still. A few minutes later, you hear soft footsteps on the floor. Your dog walks into the room and comes straight toward you. It doesn't jump on the bed. It doesn't go to its own bed. It doesn't lie down somewhere else in the room. Instead, it slowly circles once and settles right at your feet. Sometimes it lies across your feet, almost like a small barrier between you and the rest of the room. Sometimes it gently rests its head on your ankle. Other times, it presses its body lightly against your legs. And then it stays there. Your dog falls asleep at your feet and remains there through the night, even though there are many other comfortable places it could choose. There might be a soft dog bed in another room, a warm blanket on the couch, plenty of quiet corners in the house. But your dog still chooses that exact spot, right at your feet. Most people assume this behavior is simple. Maybe the dog just wants warmth. Maybe it is used to sleeping near you. Maybe your bed is simply more comfortable than anywhere else. But behavioral science suggests something deeper may be happening. Because in the psychology of dogs, the place where they choose to sleep is rarely random. And the quiet position your dog chooses at your feet may reveal an ancient instinct that has existed long before dogs ever lived in human homes. Most people never think twice about this behavior. A dog sleeps at their feet, and the explanation seems obvious. Maybe the dog just likes being close. Maybe the bed is warmer than the floor. Maybe it has simply become part of the nightly routine. Those explanations feel logical, but they only explain the surface of the behavior. If warmth were the only reason, your dog could sleep beside you. It could climb onto the bed, curl up near your chest, or lie against your side. If comfort were the only reason, it could choose its own soft bed, the couch, or any quiet corner of the house. But many dogs repeatedly choose the exact same position, right at their owner's feet. Behavioral researchers who study canine social patterns have noticed something important about sleep positions. In dogs, where they sleep often reflects how they perceive the social structure around them. Dogs are not solitary animals by nature. They evolved from wolves, which lived in tightly organized groups where proximity meant security and cooperation. Inside those groups, sleeping arrangements were rarely random. The positions animals chose often reflected relationships, trust, and responsibility within the group. When a dog consistently sleeps at your feet, it may not simply be choosing a comfortable spot. It may be choosing a social position, a position that keeps it close to the individual it trusts most, while still allowing it to stay alert to the surrounding environment. To understand why this position appears so often in domestic dogs today, we have to go much further back in time, back to the sleeping patterns of wolves in the wild. To understand why many dogs choose to sleep at their owner's feet, it helps to look at where dogs originally came from. Long before dogs lived in human homes, their ancestors lived in structured social groups. Wolves slept together in ways that helped protect the entire pack. Sleep was never a completely vulnerable moment for the group. Even while resting, the pack maintained a natural system of awareness and protection. Puppies and younger members usually slept closer to the center of the group. This position offered the most safety because they were surrounded by other members of the pack. Stronger or more alert individuals often slept closer to the outer edges. These positions allowed them to detect movement, sounds, or changes in the environment more quickly. Every position had a function. It helped the group remain connected while also maintaining a level of protection during the night. Even though domestic dogs now live in houses instead of forests or open landscapes, many of these instincts still exist deep in their behavioral patterns. When a dog sleeps near your feet, it may be following a version of this ancient instinct. Your dog stays close to you, which maintains social connection. At the same time, the position near your feet allows the dog to notice movement in the room, changes in sound, or someone entering the space. From that position, the dog can stand up quickly if something unusual happens. In other words, the dog remains close to the person it trusts while also keeping a position where it can react to the environment. For many dogs, sleeping at their owner's feet is not just about comfort. It is a position that balances connection and awareness at the same time. But instinct alone does not explain everything about this behavior. Modern science has discovered that when dogs sleep close to their owners, something else happens inside their bodies. Something that directly affects how safe and relaxed they feel. Instinct explains part of the story, but modern neuroscience reveals another layer behind this behavior. When a dog rests close to the person it trusts most, its brain begins to activate a set of chemical responses linked to social bonding. One of the most important of these chemicals is oxytocin. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone. It is the same hormone involved in the connection between parents and children, and it also plays a powerful role in the relationship between dogs and humans. Studies have shown that when dogs interact closely with their owners through touch, eye contact, or physical proximity, oxytocin levels increase in both the dog and the human. Sleeping near you can trigger a similar effect. When your dog lies against your feet or stays close to your body during the night, its brain may interpret that proximity as a signal of safety and social connection. At the same time, another change begins to happen. Levels of cortisol, the hormone associated with stress and alertness, begin to decrease. As cortisol drops, the dog's body becomes calmer and more relaxed. Serotonin levels can also increase, helping stabilize mood and promote a deeper state of rest. This combination of chemical changes creates an environment where the dog can sleep more peacefully. In other words, sleeping near you may actually help regulate your dog's emotional state. From the dog's perspective, the presence of its owner acts as a biological signal that the environment is safe. But there is still a fascinating detail left to explain. If the goal is closeness and safety, why do so many dogs choose the exact same location? Why the feet? Because that specific position may offer something unique that other sleeping spots do not. If a dog simply wanted to be close to you, there are many places it could choose. It could lie beside your body. It could curl up near your chest. It could even climb onto the bed and stretch out next to you. But many dogs repeatedly choose one specific location: your feet. From a behavioral perspective, this position offers several advantages. First, it allows the dog to remain physically connected to you without occupying the most dominant space in the sleeping area. In canine social dynamics, positioning matters. Lying directly on top of someone or taking the central sleeping space can sometimes signal dominance. By staying at your feet, the dog maintains closeness while still respecting the social hierarchy it perceives. Second, the feet are one of the most active parts of the body during sleep. People naturally move their legs, adjust their position, or shift during the night. A dog resting near your feet can immediately sense those movements. This gives the dog constant feedback about your state. If you wake up, stand up, or shift suddenly, the dog will feel it instantly. Third, the position near your feet often gives the dog a clear orientation toward the rest of the room. From there, it can easily notice sounds, changes in light, or movement near the doorway. In other words, the dog is close to you, but it is also facing the outside environment. This position allows the dog to remain connected to its owner, while still maintaining awareness of what is happening around them. But researchers studying dog behavior have noticed something even more interesting about dogs that sleep in physical contact with their owners. It may actually change how anxious they feel during the night. Behavior researchers studying dogs and human sleep patterns have noticed something interesting. Dogs that sleep close to their owners, especially those that maintain physical contact, often show lower levels of nighttime stress. During the night, animals are naturally more vulnerable. Vision is reduced, unfamiliar sounds are harder to identify, and the environment becomes less predictable. For many animals, this is when alertness normally increases. But when a dog sleeps near a trusted human, that tension often decreases. The owner becomes a kind of biological signal of safety. The dog's brain interprets the presence of that familiar person as confirmation that the environment is stable and under control. Because of that signal, the body can relax more deeply. Heart rate becomes steadier, breathing slows down, muscles release tension. In some cases, dogs that sleep close to their owners also wake up less frequently during the night. This suggests that the physical proximity helps regulate their emotional state even while they are asleep. But there is another side to this behavior that owners sometimes overlook. For most dogs, sleeping near their owner is a healthy sign of trust and bonding. However, when the behavior becomes too rigid, it can sometimes indicate something different. A dog that cannot sleep anywhere unless it is touching its owner may be showing signs of emotional dependency. And that distinction is important for understanding whether the behavior is simply bonding or something deeper. So, when your dog curls up at your feet at night, the behavior may carry more meaning than it first appears. It is not simply choosing a comfortable place to sleep. It is choosing a position that keeps it close to the person it trusts most, while still remaining aware of the world around it. That small space at your feet allows the dog to stay connected to you, feel your movement, and react quickly if something in the environment changes. In a quiet way, it mirrors the same patterns that once existed in ancient packs, where sleeping positions balanced safety, awareness, and social bonds. For your dog, you are not just another individual in the house. You are the center of its social world, And the place it chooses to sleep reflects that relationship. By lying at your feet, the dog stays close enough to feel secure, yet positioned where it can remain attentive to the surroundings. It is a quiet behavior that combines trust, instinct, and connection. So the next time you notice your dog sleeping at your feet during the night, it may not simply be looking for warmth or comfort. In its own way, your dog may be doing two things at once: staying close to the individual it trusts the most, and quietly keeping watch beside you.